Hi friends, it's breakfast time at my house and today we are going to make a nice light and fluffy pancake and I'm going to do a little bit of a twist on it for autumn because we got to get all those autumn vibes. So if you want to see what kind of pancakes we're doing today, if you've never made pancakes, it's a great video to tune in. So let's get cooking. So we're going to start out with getting some breakfast sausage ready because we want to have a full breakfast and haven't made a nice breakfast for myself and my husband in a while. Weekends are great for that, right? So, um, I guess I did last week. I think, well, maybe it was 2 weeks ago. I did make an omelet, so I take that back. Sometimes I forget. So, I'm work today to celebrate. Yeah, celebrate Thanksgiving. Or not celebrate Thanksgiving. I have a Thanksgiving on my mind big time because we're getting ready to prep for that. And there are videos to come on that. But we are going to use some maple syrup flavored um, sausage links. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's get 8 in there. And what I do is, I'm going to put that in there and wrap it up later. Wash my hands after touching that raw meat. So I have a big problem with sausage links. I am terrible about getting them overcooked or burnt or just a little bit overcooked. So I found something that's really helped me to start them out with is because I try to brown them. I put them in there raw, like we all do, and I flip them over to turn them, but I always seem to overcook it. But what's helped me is if I put a little bit of water, probably like an eighth of a cup, and I get that going and put the lid on, it kind of steams them, and then I know they're cooked all the way through. And then I remove the water, and then I just let them get brown. So I don't know if that tip will help you. It certainly helped me to have my sausage links cooked all the way through and not blackened because we're not going for the Cajun blackened. I'm really not going for that. So that tip really helped me. So we're going to get those started and let's get our pancake batter put together. And I'm sure you have all these ingredients. Most of us do in our home. So we are going to need about 3 tablespoons of butter. So I'm going to get that in my microwave because this will probably move all pretty quick. And this is pretty cold, so I just took it out of the fridge before I started this video. Let me know in the comments if you are a pancake fan. I absolutely, pretty much, that's like one of my favorite breakfast things, but I hardly ever eat it because they're so sweet, and I like to save my sweets for something else, but it is a special treat to have them. So I did have them, I'm trying to think, actually, was it last weekend or 2 weekends ago? We had breakfast with a friend and I had Swedish pancakes. They're like a thinner pancake and they got like little pots of holes in there. And then they put the lingonberries inside it and rolled it tight. Oh, they were really good. So now it's just my husband and I. I don't make pancakes, I have to admit. I don't make them that much. When my kids were home, I made them more. But not so much anymore. So we're going to take about a cup and a half of all-purpose flour. Butter is melted. And let's check on our maple sausage. Yeah, see, that's boiling good. I'm going to turn that down to 5. We'll let those steam for, let's do 2 minutes. Keep on that, and then I'll put it on low so they get browned. So yeah, and we'll drain that water. So let's me go ahead and make sure we're recording. Sometimes my video drops every once in a while. So if you see me looking like that, that's why. So let's take our flour. Actually, we need to spoon it into the cup. That's the best way to do it. And we're gonna sift this. We're gonna sift it with 3.5 tablespoons of baking powder. I might have a little bit more than a cup and a half in this bowl. I just kind of quick tried to get things together so I could get doing this video. So here we got 1. Let's go for the half. So why apple pancakes? Well, apples are so abundant in the fall, and really, I grew up in I grew up in Connecticut, so we had tons of apples. Connecticut, I lived in upstate New York for a long time, and actually probably get a half a cup measuring because I was almost there. That was a full cup, and I want to measure this a little bit better. All right, so there's 1.5 cups. Anyway, I lived in upstate New York for many, many years, and we used to go to this restaurant. Time to check. I'll hold that story. Time to check our sausages. Yeah. And you can see they're pretty much, I mean, they're really not appetizing looking right now, but that's okay. We know they're cooked. These cook really quick. And I've got a tad of the water in there. I'll just let that cook off, and we're gonna let these brown. That's pretty quick. So what I was saying is, here is our baking powder. Let's put that in here. And we have a little bit of tablespoon and a half of sugar and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Let's do the baking powder and the flour, and we're going to sift that. And a lot of times when you sift it, you'll get lumps of the flour or let me get up close. You get little lumps of the flour, and oh, you can't see it too good. Little beads there. That's the baking powder, all right. All right, so then we're going to take our salt and our sugar, sift that in there, and you could do it all together. It's just I'm using a lot of sugar in the raw, and that's a lot bigger crystals. So that doesn't all go through the sieve. I'm just going to dump it in there and whisk it in so I know that it's all well incorporated. And then we're just going to make like a little well. So we're just making a little well. We're going to put our egg and our milk. We have a cup and a 1/4 of milk. Let's put that in. And I just use a tad of vanilla extract, or like a teaspoon, well, maybe like a half a teaspoon. And we're going to use some butter. We're going to use that 3 tablespoons of melted butter. Pour that in there. And we're going to do 1 egg. And we'll give that a good mix up. I'll wash my hands. And we're going to whisk that up. Now you can make a variation if you wanted to do like a buttermilk pancakes. You could just buy buttermilk. And if you don't have buttermilk on hand, we would just add like a teaspoon or so of white vinegar into that milk. And that would give you buttermilk. So you don't want to over whip these. Let's give a test to our sausages are coming along. And I really have that on low, so we'll be good to go. So let's go ahead and get our apples peeled. Let me get those. All right, so let's get our apples peeled. We're going to use a Macintosh, and you find those a lot in the Northeast. And it's fall, and I live in the Pacific Northwest. I live in Washington, which is known for apples. But they only have Macs, only in certain places at this time of year. I can't get these, only in the fall. So when I am at my local grocery market and they come out, I buy a lot of them. I'll make apple pie. I like a nice mixture of different types of apples in my apple pie. I'll make apple crisp. I'll make homemade applesauce. Just love these. And really, a Macintosh is a great eating apple. It is somewhat soft. It's a softer apple to bite into, and it's sweet, and it's also just a little tart. So perfect. So let's get these peeled. You definitely want these peeled for the apple pancakes. And like I was starting to say before, we had a small little diner in our town called Mrs. K's Kitchen, and she made the greatest apple pancakes. Now mine don't compare to hers. I never found out her secret. So, and they're still in business. Her daughter now runs the restaurant, but I haven't been there in quite a while. I think the last 2 times we were in town, it's just we couldn't make it there when it was opened. So we missed out. So I've really been hankering these pancakes. And there's no reason why we can't make them. So we're just going to cut these in half, and I'm just going to use my paring knife. I'm not going to get fancy about it. Now, normally I'll use my core, but I only have 2 apples. So I use a melon ball, and I just kind of go where the core is, and I dig that out. It's really quick and easy. Put that in here. Oh, I knew there. I was in the back of my mind. I feel like there's something I'm missing on my batter. There is. There is. We need apple pie spice in there. Now, one thing I'm going to just make sure I mention, you just want to give that a good mix to it when it's smooth. There'll be some lumps, and that's okay. And then the jury's out on how much you work that pancake batter. Let's get our pan and get going. Let me put that pumpkin pie spice while I'm thinking of it. And this is just a pre-made mixture I put together. I have a video from last fall on making your own spice blends, and I have an apple pie spice blend. I did a pumpkin pie spice blend, and I put about a half a tablespoon in there, and that will just give us that nice depth of flavor, that nice fall flavor. It smells good. All right, so let's get a little oil in here. I'm gonna use just coconut oil. You can use it like a non-stick type of. I could remember my daughter when her kids were even smaller. The youngest grandkid just became a teenager, so that makes you feel old. It's like stop growing up so fast. Well, let's get a spatula. Now, see what I'm saying? Gotta be careful. That pan is getting a little. There we go. It's getting nice and browned. And I'm going to even put this on a lower. I have a melt setting on mine. I'm going to do that so I don't overcook them. So we're just going to take these Macintosh apples and we're going to slice them very thin because they're going to slightly cook. They're going to have a little bit of a bite to them, but we want them thin because pancakes cook very fast. But yeah, I sure do miss Mrs. K's apple pancakes, and she always served with it a little container of her homemade applesauce. It was almost like an apple butter. It was very rich. It was very nice spice to it. I know she used more than cinnamon. I don't know what her secret spice was. Her spice blend in her little applesauce, but it was yummy. And you all, if you're going through the trouble of making these pancakes, please use real maple syrup. None of that corn syrup stuff. And we got that. The apple on my shirt. We're getting this on medium high. And I'm going to use a little, you can use a measuring cup, but I'm going to use this little, this is a large like cookie scoop. I'm going to use that for my pancake. And a lot of times my first pancake doesn't turn out that great. I don't know what it is about that. All these years I've meant to get one of those like griddles. And by golly, one of these days I am going to get one. Of course, it would have helped to have that when my kids were younger and we made a lot more pancakes. Those Macintosh are good. Let's add some apple pie spice to those apples. Oh, that smells so good. Now, I made this blend last fall and I had it sealed tight. I had it in a Ziploc baggie, plus I had it in a sealed tight jar. And it still is very fragrant. Sometimes if your spices have been sitting on the shelf for a while, They will lose their pungency. That smells good. All right, let's give this a little tiny test to see if this oil is ready. I'm just going to take a tad of my batter and just, yeah, I hear a sizzle. I think it's going to be all right. I think we're ready to go. There we go. So we're going to take our scoop and we're going to put that right in the middle. And just with this pan, I only do one at a time. It's just easier. And I just kind of spread it out a little bit to the size I want it. And then I'm going to take some of those apple slices and I'm just going to put a few in there. There we go. We're going to watch that with a pancake. Well, let me back it up a little so you can see. You're going to, it takes about 2 minutes per side and you're going to start to see it bubble. And you'll be tempted to flip it before, but don't do that. Just wait till it starts to bubble through. You'll start to see holes in the batter. And then it's going to be time to flip it. So let's put our timer on. Put some stuff in the sink here, out of the way. Watch a clock. It doesn't. What? No, not watch a clock. What is it? Watch a pot. It doesn't boil. But let me get a close up so I can show you what I'm talking about. You can see it's starting those little holes in there. That's what we're going to want to see throughout that whole pancake. And you can start to see it doing its thing. That's what we want it to do. So we got to be patient. We'll put our done pancakes on a platter and put a little lid, a little microwave cover on there. You can put your oven on low, like a warm or 200, and your already done pancakes you can put in a pan. Now, if you could see this, I'm going to real quick move. See, I would say this is going to be ready to flip because you're just going to use your eyes, use your nose, because I can feel like this is, yeah, we just caught it. Let me get close up. There we go. We probably can turn this down just a tad. Yep, use your eyes, your nose, because you can tell if it's, obviously you could smell if it's burning. All right, we already flipped that over. So we're just going to go ahead and make a few. I think I'll make a couple of eggs to go with that once we're done. I probably got to put my fan on. Probably won't need it as long on the one side. The one side would probably only need a minute. Probably vegetable oil would have been better as far as the smoke rate, but I always seem to get this smoke whenever I make pancakes. If you've got any tips of how to make it not so smoky, hey, I'm up to it. Probably why I don't make pancakes that much, even though I love them. All right, so let's take that first one. You know what? Let me let you see. See, that's not quite done on that side. Telling you. Let's make that first one. All right, let's go on to our next one. I turn my stove top down a little bit. Get those apple slices in there. Yeah, that's cooking pretty fast. I'm just going to do a 1 minute on this one. Sometimes you just got to play around with it a little bit. I'm going to turn this fan up, though, a little bit to get some of this. It's that oil on that pan that's making the smoke. All right, we got the bubbling going on. So let's flip it over. Caught it on time. Definitely got to turn this down. That's what I seem to do when I make pancakes. I'm always like putting up, turning it down. That's where one of those electric frying pan griddles where you can put it on, it'll have a setting on there for pancakes. I like that. I mean, maybe that's my goal this year. Before the end of the year, get a griddle. Because I think I've made them on there and they go much smoother. It really doesn't take long for them to cook through, but you do want to make sure they're cooked through. These sausages are perfect, so I'm just going to put the lid on to keep them hot. Right. I'm going to use a little bit of canola oil, which I usually hardly ever use. My husband's more used to that, but I feel like maybe it won't stick so bad like the coconut oil. This probably has a little bit of higher smoke rate. Now I am going to be making, in the next couple weeks, I'm going to be making a video on my apple pie. I do make a good apple pie. So keep watch for that. Like I said, I'm thinking a lot about Thanksgiving, and we're going to be doing a lot of Thanksgiving prep and recipes. All right. It's still cooking a little bit darker than I want it. And it could be this pan. This pan just might be sucky for it. And I might try this other. I've got a Teflon coated pan, which I pretty much just use for eggs. I might try that, which is smaller. All right, I gave up on that other pan. I'm like, I don't want to mess with that pan. So I got my little rinky dink egg pan, but that'll be perfect size pancakes. So I probably won't need this whole bit. No, maybe I can. I'm just going to spread that out to the edges. A little smaller than I wanted, but I just didn't want to fuss with that pan. I was just having a problem with them scorching. So let's get our nice, we'll see how we do with this. I think we'll be much better. I have a little pan that's a tad bigger than that. It's just like this one here. It's for grilled cheese, but it's square. And square pancakes, they taste the same, but I wanted to go with the round one. So, all right, let's see how that, oh, that flip is much nicer. Yeah, I should have just done that. Smells good. Put some apples in there. Let me put that in the microwave. Won't take very long. Let's do 30 seconds. One thing you want to make sure too is you have room temperature butter for your. Oh, we need to flip this. I kind of forgot about it. I was doing other things. Oh, just caught it. A little bit more brown than it should be. yeah, you want your butter to be room temperature to put on your pancakes. Now there was probably a lot of water in those, moisture in the apples, because that's sizzling more. 20 more seconds on the maple syrup. Oh, I'm getting hungry. I'm ready. I'm gonna probably cook a couple eggs with it. So we got a nice full breakfast. Okay. Or all right, we are ready to do a taste test. They got some nice butter melting on top of those apple pancakes. Can you see the apples in there? This should be full of flavor. We're going to get some of our warm maple syrup and drizzle that on top. That looks good. Let's give it a taste. Soak up some of that maple syrup. Mmm. Oh, they are nice and light and fluffy. Nice balance of that apple pie spice in there. Our apples are nice and tender because we cut them. All right, y'all. I think you're gonna love this for fall mornings, family breakfasts. I think I'm gonna sit down with a cup of coffee. I'm gonna make a couple eggs first and enjoy that sausage. Oh, we had that. I think I'm gonna wait on these though. Well, friends, I hope you enjoyed this video today and making some apple pancakes with me. Let me know if you give it a try, and we'll keep on keeping on. We're going to do continue to do some fall recipes, and of course, we're going to do a bunch of Thanksgiving recipes, so you won't want to miss that. Go ahead and hit subscribe if you haven't yet, and you'll be able to catch all my videos, and hopefully we'll grow together as a community. But thanks for watching. Have a great week.